Welcome to the Author Next Door,
where we talk writing, publishing, and the business behind the books.
This podcast is for writers who are a few steps ahead into the journey. Maybe you've published, maybe you're planning what's next, and you realize the questions aren't getting easier. They're just getting more interesting.
Sometimes it's just our fabulous selves. Sometimes we bring friends to the table, but it's always lived experience and information you can use.
So pull up a chair. The conversation starts now. Welcome to episode 63. I'm Cassie Newell, and I'm here with my co-host, Angela Haas. And this month, it's Anything Goes. Today, we're talking about querying and pursuing traditional publishing. It's my Anything Goes topic. So the reason I chose this one particularly, just to chit-chat about briefly and kicking off our April month, is I'm really interested in the season right now as a writer because for the first time, I'm actively pursuing traditional publishing and while also being an indie author with some momentum. And I've discovered it's not a straight line
Is
at all.
Huh.
And it's pretty wild because I've watched in our community other indies who've been really successful move into this hybrid lane. So I was just really curious about it. I thought we could talk a little bit about the traditional side, the querying side, why you would, why you wouldn't, what to possibly research about to get to understand who you might want to query, that whole process.
Yeah, but I have a question for you. It's a
Oh
big
no, right off
question.
the bat.
Mhm.
All right.
So what was your why? Tell us why. The big why you wanted to even start this process.
So my why has developed over time, but I started this, was it over a year ago? A little over a year ago. And my thought process was one that I'm not a full-time author, meaning I don't have the time during the day to write. It's not my daytime job. I have another job that's 40 plus hours a week, and I do this in the background. Part of my why was to alleviate a lot of the workload that I do in my weekend warrior type life in order to write more and focus on story more, because there's a lot of production activities with formatting your book, uploading your book, all the marketing, all the things, right, that go around it. And so for me, I wanted somebody to offset those costs, do those activities for me so I could concentrate on the story pieces. That's what I was looking for. And then at the same time, the dream goal is I wanted to be in stores. I wanted to see my books, not just in my lovely local bookstores that, I can kind of finagle my way into because I'm local and in their city, but be in the Barnes and Nobles, be in Target, be in places where I shop. Yeah, I want to go in and sign it and be like, I'm an author, let me sign some copies for you, kind of thing. So that's kind of a dream. That was part of it too. That was kind of sitting underneath it in the desire factor, but in the reality factor, I just realized my time is limited. Yeah. That's what it came down to. Yeah.
It's a great why. Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. So it's interesting because Angela and I, we've been attendees of the Superstars conference for a couple of years. And in 2025, this is how this all began. I had this idea, this budding idea. I've written a synopsis thing, a little quick, this is the idea I have on a rom-com. And it was a break the glass ceiling type of rom-com for me. And there was an agent who I had met the year before that was going to do some career counseling where you could pitch and do different things. I love these things at conferences, by the way, guys. It's such a great way to network with people and meet people and not just learn, but like actively participate, right? So it was so funny. Angela, I don't know if we both, my memory's fuzzy, but I think I know I went to one of the table round things.
Didn't
And
we just kinda stumble onto it? Weren't we like, "Well, should we go to this?" Sure. It was
yeah,
like a
I think I
very
was like, we need to
casual.
go to it. It was like a bunch of
Right.
romance writers, and there were some agents up there. Well, the agent that they were introducing was no longer an agent. She works for the publisher. And I was like, wait, what? And I had already signed up. That made me nervous. But it was quite clear during that discussion, they were looking for dark romance. They were looking for
Mhm.
fantasy, romantasy. That was not this lane. Took so much pressure off of me, to be quite honest,
Mhm.
because I was like,
Right.
what was the last thing I said to you, Angela? Nobody, she's not going to go for this, but it's going to be good experience. I think that's what I
Right.
said to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
And I did. I pitched it. It was a good experience. And she was like, I love it. I want it. When can I get it? Which I had to like manage expectations. It wasn't written yet. Can I get
Mhm.
it to her at this particular time? Because I was in the process of moving, all the things. And she said yes. And I also had to come up with a series idea. I mean, talk about stroke your ego. It was fabulous,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what an experience that these conferences provide. Highly take advantage of that. If you have any idea of pitching or getting into that side, those services at the conference, you're not paying extra. Do it. Do it. I think
Yeah.
you've done that before, right? Didn't you pitch?
Well, no, I've never pitched at
Or the
Superstars.
career
There's a few
consulting?
things they do. You can either pitch with certain people and they give you feedback and they may like it and they may ask for it.
Hmm.
But you can also get career counseling with 3 different authors. I've always done the career counseling just to get 3 different perspectives on things.
Hmm.
And then there was the other thing where it was just a very casual where Lindsay and Sabine were willing to read the first
Oh, right.
couple pages.
Chapters. Yeah.
And we sat down with them and we're like, "Hey," and that's where Sabine totally rerouted the course I was on for Seconds to Oblivion. And she read it and gave me the most incredible feedback that I still have in the back of my head. And that was all part of
Yeah.
the event, you know? So, Superstars, I love it because it's smaller. You have more access, you have more ability to get into some of these activities and talk to these people. So, that was really valuable. I don't know. I think Author Nation probably does similar things, not quite in the same way, but yeah, I mean, you just never know at these author events where the
Yeah.
networking is gonna take you. Yeah.
Right. I used to do this at the Florida Writers Association too. So I've pitched a couple of
Yeah.
times now.
Mhm.
Um, the first time I felt like, what was such a crash and burn? But I learned. I learned from it. So, and I felt like I knew the individual I was talking to at the table from the year before. The pressure was off. Anyway, so with that, I was like, okay, let me finish this novel. Did that. But there's this other part of me that was like, okay, I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. I certainly want to try to query agents. I would love to have a collaborative partner that is an agent who's trying to sell this work. I don't know if
Mhm.
it's going to work with this individual publisher or not. So,
Mhm.
that process, there's a couple of things I highly recommend. First, get a membership. It's not that expensive to Publishers Marketplace. So,
Mhm.
if you've ever been on social media and somebody's announcing, oh my God, I just sold it, they're like cutting and pasting exactly from Publishers Marketplace.
Mhm.
The reason you get Publishers Marketplace is because you can research agents, authors, their deals, the
Right.
publishing companies, all the things. So, what I did was I looked for comp authors and I reverse engineered it. So, I
Mhm.
was looking to see who their agents were, their most recent buys, what agencies, what they represented genre wise. There is a manuscript wish list that a lot of agents will put out there. This
Mhm.
is what I'm looking for. This is
Nice.
what I'm
Yeah.
interested in. So basically, you're gathering a lot of data to determine if they could potentially be a right fit for your book and for you. Um, and so I did a lot of diving to get all my research down, and then I narrowed it down to what I wanted. I I do want some control. I want a partner, quote, not a savior. I think that's
Mhm.
important because I've been in the indie space since 2016. I feel pretty comfortable here. Um,
Right.
what I don't know is the other side of the curtain, that's run by, the big 5 and others. I just kind of want somebody to guide me on that new path. They don't always have to hold my hand, I guess is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to
Sure.
say. From that perspective, I started querying. I started that at the end of last year. I submitted my novel to the publisher who had interest the year yeah, in the February prior, and it was so great because when I had submitted it, they were closed for submissions, but because she had guaranteed it, I delivered on my date, it went right to acquisitions, which was a beautiful
Nice.
thing. There's a lot of
Nice. Yeah.
gatekeeping, it's
Yep.
not just find an agent and you're
Mhm.
in. That agent actually has to work with publishers and try to sell your story. And it's trying to get acquisitions, which is usually an editor, interested in your book that wants to work on it, that loves the
Yeah.
story. So I was going straight there, which was great. But of course, it was closer to the holidays. I also knew in managing my expectations, I probably wouldn't hear from them until after Superstars this year, which I didn't get to attend. So um, here it is in March, and I haven't heard much. And then all of a sudden I hear, which was
Mhm.
fabulous because I have been, I started querying agents in November for the
Yeah.
agents you also will know the other thing I want to tell everyone to get when you decide to start querying agents, the other thing you will get that's free is Query Tracker. Agents accept queries through Query Tracker more than 90% of the time. You are not emailing them directly. You are not going through their website a lot of the time. That's not always the rule. You have to check their website to confirm where they want you to go. Most of the time, it's going to be in Query Tracker.
What I've never heard of that. So what does that do?
Okay.
It's a software that
It's a
yeah.
software. In Query Tracker, you basically will query or I'm sorry, search for, let me use a different term here. Search for an agent. The agent will pop up and it will say whether they're accepting queries or not, and then the process in which to submit. And everything is done in this software, whether
Gotcha.
they are requesting a letter, a synopsis, a first chapter, the first 30 pages, whatever it is they want comes to them through Query Tracker. You are not in direct contact with the agent. The agent also within Query Tracker, however, they have it built for them because it's
Mhm.
all based on their requirements. Um, you'll put in your contact information. So if they're like, "Oh my God, Angela, this is the best thing since sliced bread. I've got to talk to you," they have a way to reach you outside of the Query Tracker software. So phone number, email,
Gotcha.
whatever that is that they've put down. So that is what Query Tracker is. And more than 90, again, percent of agents utilize this system. And you can also see in Query Tracker they will list, their typical timeline of response of when you can expect a response. And if it goes beyond that, they're ghosting you. They're not moving forward with it. Um,
Yeah.
in some cases, it will, you'll see comments from other people regarding agents. Oh, they got back to me so fast. It was a no, but I got this on this date,
Right.
things like
Yeah.
that. A lot of times you won't see those details, but it's helpful because it keeps everything kind of together for you. You can also rate the agents that you really want, like my top 5. I'm going to put this one as 1, 2, 3. So there's other mechanisms in there that you can utilize, but just
Gotcha.
make sure you get Query Tracker. Query Tracker is also great if you're submitting short stories. A lot of
Nice.
small magazines and things like that use Query Tracker in terms of submissions. So it's really a submission type thing. That's the title.
Gotcha.
That's the name of it.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and started querying agents at the end of
Nice.
November. And yeah, it was, it's kind of that emotional reality of being ghosted, of having
Yeah.
an agent and respect go, yeah, not for me. And you're like, damn it. And they're like, or, also it's too heavy of a space.
Right.
Um,
Too crowded
great,
is what you
too
said. Yeah.
crowded. Rom-coms are really crowded. I'm a
Mhm.
nobody except out to my family. I'm a nobody.
You're
It's
somebody. Yeah.
I'm a somebody to them, but in the bigger scheme of things, it's just a crowded space kind of things. I got a few of those. I got the story is great. It's too competitive, not a big enough hook. Um, things of that nature, and a lot of ghostings. So your long waits, ghosting, rejections, the almost conversations, it's
Mhm.
it's tough. It's not a straight
So
line.
how did you manage that each time? How did you?
I
Because I know
think
it can be heavy. Sometimes you're like, you work so hard and
I
then
think the ghosting doesn't really bother me because it's no skin off my back, really.
right.
I don't know. I just have that kinda attitude. Like,
Mhm.
they
Yeah.
owe me nothing, I don't know them. Yeah, okay. Now, on the other side of the coin, when you have talked to other people and you've met them at conferences or you've networked and they come back with a
Right.
rejection,
Yeah.
that's a little bit more of a, right in the heart, feel it,
Oh,
own it.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
at the same time, it's like, just like readers, our books aren't for
Yeah.
everyone. I
Totally.
kind of chalk it up to that. I also feel that my attitude is fully formed because I know the indie space. And at the end of the day, if it
Mhm.
doesn't go on this particular strategic plan, my other is to utilize it under the platform I've already built. I actually, in a newsletter to my subscribers, which I've got a good 2,000 strong, that are pretty interactive. And I said, would you want to hear a full length novel from me? Because I'm known for
Mhm.
shorts. Like I'm
Right.
their palate cleanser, their little cereals, if you will. And I got a lot of yeses. And I was like, oh, this is great. Because, okay, this doesn't work out. It's going to go a different route. So yeah, that's kind of where my head was. Like, I want this. I'm
Sure.
going to give it a good varsity try. And then if that doesn't come through, then I'm going in this direction. I decided I'm not going to query beyond a certain time period. And then it's time to think about the production side that I
Yeah.
was hoping to take off my plate, but will add back to my plate to make it happen, in the next 6 to 8 months or
Nice.
longer. So, yeah, that's kind of where my thought process was.
And isn't it like some of the production times I've seen on these websites, like 18 months from the time you get your contract.
Yeah.
And
So
it's like, gosh.
here's a little story. So the publisher loved it. They were like, let's talk, which was fabulous. And that discussion is hard because I'm used to being able to control that timeline. I'm used to controlling a
Mhm.
lot of things, right? So you have to
Right.
realize that when you are selling your IP, be really specific about what IP you're selling and what control you have, what you're
Mhm.
open to change. Um, I'm pretty flexible in a lot of things, but there are some things I'm like, I'm the expert here
Right.
on this one thing. So you have to know what bridge you're going to stand on really strong versus
Mhm.
what you're able to negotiate. I don't know. We're still under discussions about things, but I'm having a hard time um kind of figuring out the complete path if I was to go in this one direction. And I had
Right.
a wonderful discussion with someone, and she said to me quite directly and in the best way possible, that would be Sasha, our good friend. If they don't have skin in the game, that's a red flag. And the things that they were telling me was of value to me would be value to someone who's never published before. It's
Mhm.
not it's really not a value to me. So that's a hard thing to overcome, even though it strokes my ego like nobody's business. They want it. They want the second and the third and like all the
Right.
things. And I
Yeah.
like the people I'm talking to.
Oh, yeah.
The value
Totally.
add, you have to put on your business hat. And
Mhm.
I'm going to take a huge cut of profits. I'm going
Mhm.
to be marketing solely. I think that's something people forget too. Some publishers will have marketing money, and even in the top 10 publishers, not all of them are giving that anymore. Like
Right.
some of those things that you think are coming aren't, there's the discussion of do you need an advance versus not having an advance? All these things. I think for me, it's just been a real battle in my head. And when Sasha said that to me, I can't unhear it now. Like it's
Yeah, sure.
constantly in my head. What rights am I handing over? Am I carrying it all alone and for what purpose? It's a shared success, but if I'm going to share it, I want partnership. And to me, partnership is you're going to put more into it than what I'm giving it to you. I'm giving you a story that I've
Mhm.
already worked my butt off for. Right. And I've already got a platform. I'm hoping that you're either expending that platform to be
Right.
bigger
Sure.
or adding to it so that we're complementing each other or something. So, yeah, it's been really interesting to kind of go through those pieces. And I think that's why indie authors, once they get past that part, they're like, either I'm indie or die, or I want to try hybrid
Right.
because I want that
Yeah.
experience to know, but I'm not sure I want to give up my baby right now to
Mhm.
try it this way in this particular opportunity. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's a
You
tough
know,
one.
it's tough because, you're like, gosh, it's an opportunity, but
Yeah.
is it the right opportunity?
Is it the
And
right opportunity?
sometimes opportunities will come your way and they're just not the right type. And that's what you have to weigh. And
Right type or right time, too, right?
mhm.
Like I said early on, I've watched colleagues of ours in this industry who had IP out, their stories, intellectual property. Sorry, guys, if I didn't explain that, but had it out 5 years ago.
Mhm.
Somebody came to them, either they now have a new agent or a new publisher who has interest in that was a bestseller 5 years ago. They're repackaging it and they're putting it out and moving it, pushing it to their audience. That was 5 years later. That wasn't at
Right.
the time of the initiation of that book prior to publication. I'm seeing a lot more of that as well. And so part of me is like, well, don't hold out on my dream. It could still happen. It might be, 7
Right.
years later, but I don't know. It's a hard thing to navigate until you're really clear on the first question you asked, my why.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
tough to be clear until you really know that.
And I think listeners can benefit just from your listening to your experience. Everyone's experience is different, but it's interesting listening to how you approached it and then what to do if someone says yes, but it may not be the right person? So I think
Yeah.
sometimes we want to jump on things because, like I said, someone wants it, they love it. But
Hmm.
taking that
Right.
extra time to
Yeah.
really think about it, I think is valuable.
And I think I always think of this because in my day job, I do interview people too. Like, you're they're interviewing you for a good fit, but you're interviewing them too.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's a two-way street. I mean,
sure.
it may be the biggest agent and has all these people, but if they come off to be an asshole to me, like, I'm sorry.
Right,
No. I'm not going to care. you
right.
know? So remember that. I think it's important, they're trying to buy something that's yours and you're interviewing them. That's your baby. Are you
Mhm.
going to hand it all
Yeah,
over or what piece and portion are you going to hand over? So I don't know. It's been a good lesson. and negotiations and all the things, and testing my why too, because I'd get
Right.
on the phone with you and I'm like, "Ugh, I don't
I
know.
know. Yep.
Like, but I still have two two agents out, and one of them is my number one and had just opened up, I think at the end of February, early March. And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
it opened. Click. And I started sending all the things through Query Tracker. We'll see how that goes. But,
And
and
when do
then I
you
think,
think you find out there?
yeah,
When do
so
you
they are a 6 to 8 week time period. So I'll either
Mm,
know at the end of this month, April, early May, or possibly sooner. It did say that if it was a for sure go to request more, because a lot of times in Query Tracker, it is giving your query letter and maybe like it's like either the first chapter or the first 30 pages, whichever's shorter or what have you, and something else. So sometimes it's a whole process in which they're like, I want a full versus, just going right
mhm.
out the gate. So it
Yeah,
just depends on how the submission process works for them. And I don't think I submitted a full. I think it was a letter, a synopsis. And when we say synopsis, we're not talking blurb. We're talking, you're giving away all the plot twists and everything all the way
mhm.
to the end of the book and including the first chapter and stuff. So sometimes they'll go right off of that, but a lot of times they'll request a full as a
Sure.
secondary that their interest. I've had that happen. You're so excited, you submit a full and then you don't hear anything. That's happened to me
Uh,
too. And I'm like, dang. But I've done, I think I've submitted up to 15 now. And
nice.
um, like my top 5 were closed. So I only had, I think, her and number 3 that I was like, "Oh, finally," and I would get them
Mhm.
in. So you're really babysitting
It's
that
a
thing when
waiting
they're
game
open,
too.
when
Yeah.
they're
Just yeah.
closed. 'Tis the season. At the end of the
Right.
year, it's really tough. Most of them are closed. It's a bad time to start. New year, great time to start, and spring, great time to start.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
they're like everyone else, summer,
Yeah.
a lot of people are off, families, trips, travel.
Uh-huh.
Fall, if they are parents, they've got back to school and things
Right.
kinda ramp up and yeah, so
Exactly.
yeah, there's a
Yeah.
season for everything.
Do
Yeah.
you think you'll query?
No.
What
No.
happens if a publisher or an agent comes to you and is like, no mountain too high, like we want this. What would you do?
I mean, if they're giving me an advance, I'd talk about it if they wanted me help me finish the rest of the series,
Yeah,
but I think since it's already indie published, it's not very likely to happen,
but
so
it's happening.
yeah, it is, but I think you have to I think they're looking at, like, if that book, like, took off in such a way that it was, like, hitting number ones on charts, that gets
Mm.
people's attention.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm happy in my little lane just trying to get these books out. I think that's
Yeah.
I just don't wanna wait 2 years for something. I don't want someone to say, "You need to make this character a different gender, different person." Different
Yeah.
names. I worked so hard to kinda make the story a certain way that I don't know. I mean, never say never, but it's definitely not on my radar right now, for sure.
I think once you do the indie space too, and you
Mhm.
realize it's not so scary,
Mhm.
like,
Yep.
yeah, it has that appeal to it because you have so much control too.
You had some great pointers in there. So
Mm.
you summarize for us, here's the essence of this process. Like
Well, I think first define your why.
Mhm.
If it is to find an agent to be published, definitely practice your
Mhm.
pitching and learn the makeup of what a query letter is, what a synopsis is. There are some great classes out there. I took Tiffany Hawk's class. I'll like cheerlead for her, which
Nice.
is fabulous on all of it and what to expect. Don't go in blind, not knowing how to write a query letter and just throwing something together. that you asked AI to do because it's its own animal. You really need to have an understanding of what agents are
Mhm.
looking for, what they're wanting. Second, research who you want and make sure it fits your book because otherwise you're wasting their time, you're wasting your time because they're going to just ghost you and you're never going to hear from them again. And
Mhm.
as a result, it's worthwhile to be in publishers marketplace. If you don't want to spend that money, definitely look in the back of books. A lot of time, your comp authors are acknowledging and thanking their agents. So
Mhm.
you can
Yeah,
do it other
exactly.
ways. It's going to be the long way. You can do it that way as well. And then Query Tracker, it's free. That is free. That is not a paid thing. Get it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do a lot of agent researching in there because it's a submission platform.
Yeah.
It's nothing more than that. But yeah, I think those are the key things. If that's the direction you want to go, and then I think as a bonus tip in practicing pitching and verbalizing it too, going to local conferences. The
Yeah.
agents are trying to find diamonds in the rough all the
Right,
time,
exactly.
right? So take advantage of those things. I know a lot of people are introverts and quite scared of that. Don't
Yeah.
worry, you can talk through it. You don't have to have everything memorized to pitch. And they'll also talk about, usually in the conference, what's acceptable to bring to your pitch. Cause I was like, do I bring my first pages? Do I bring my manuscript? It was like,
Exactly.
no,
Doing some
don't do that.
research. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
do some research for that conference. And I think the career opportunities that we experienced at Superstars was fabulous
Yeah.
because I took advantage of those too. So, yeah, take advantage of those local conferences, even if they're small. That's the best because you get the opportunity to have more face to face time with people and network and ask your questions. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
the biggest takeaways.
I think those are great takeaways. Thank you for sharing all that. I think that's like such valuable information. What are your updates right now? Where are you? What are you
Oh my
doing?
gosh,
What
so many
aren't you
things.
writing? You're writing too many things, but
Yeah. Well, it's April, and later this month, an anthology is coming out called Bless Your Trope, and I have a short story in
nice.
it. And it's so
So fun.
cute. It's so fun. It has dogs in it. If you're a dog lover, you're going to love it. Um,
Love it.
and it's part of the Romance Atlanta Book Con. And so they're selling it, and proceeds are going to the Humane Society, which I love too. So I think that's fabulous. So that's really exciting. And then, yeah, I'm gearing up for my hot boy summer, my firefighters that are coming out. And so, yeah, we're going to start building our art team, and I'm gearing up for those kind of things and finishing the last books and all of that and getting things ready for narrators. It's just a busy, busy
Nice.
time. Yeah,
That's so crazy.
it is.
Well, cool.
You.
I don't have much because my day job is killing me. But I want to
Yeah.
talk about the shy girl controversy. Have you heard this?
No.
Oh my god.
First
Okay.
time. I don't know what the shy girl controversy is.
Shy Girl,
Mm.
horror novel by Mia Ballard. Hachette canceled the US
Oh,
release.
yes, I do know about this.
So the timeline is um readers and reviewers on social media noted hallmarks of AI, including repetitive phrasing, strange metaphors. They ran it through AI detection and it stated 78% of the text was likely AI generated. Now, I want everyone to listen to me very carefully, and I can post a screenshot of this. Another reader ran Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the first few paragraphs, through AI detection, and the AI said 100% written by AI.
It couldn't have
So,
been. Mary Shelley wasn't here in the time
no,
of generative
obviously,
AI. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
this is an
Mm-mm.
old book. No.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we need to calm down. I
It's a witch
understand.
hunt.
It's a witch hunt. I mean, this is crazy. Now, what Mia Ballard came back, and think about the pain and embarrassment for this author. Now, she denied using AI personally, stating she hired an editor for the self publishing version who used AI tools without her knowledge. Now, I mean, that I'm not sure that's a response, but maybe that
That
truly
is not
did
a good
happen.
response.
Yeah, this is all I think later we're gonna do a section on PR for authors because you have to
Ooh,
tailor
yes.
your response. The thing is, maybe that did happen, but now I'm questioning how you could you didn't know your editor was using AI tools, and does that mean she was rewriting
Wording your
certain
work without your
phrases?
knowledge. Yeah,
And
you're
wouldn't you know that
ultimately
if you're going
responsible
through
for
the
your
research?
book and as an indie author.
Correct.
Yeah.
So things probably not gonna know the full story, but the problem is this all started from readers and reviewers suspecting there was
Suspecting.
AI based on certain phrasing that they thought was that. Now, here's the thing, AI
They've
is
also said
trained.
that about M dashes though too. I use them
Right,
all the
everything.
time.
No, it's
Yeah,
everything.
I know.
It's now it's certain forms of punctuation, certain commas
Yeah.
done interestingly. Now we're getting to, like, phrasing or wording that may be new to us. Oh, it's automatically AI. Here's the thing, listeners, AI is trained on all of our books. So, of course, it may write in similar styles to human authors,
It's
but
mimicking. Yeah.
it's mimicking, and that's the thing. Yes, I did honestly read a book by an author that I was like, "I know for a fact this was AI. Am I gonna go out on a witch hunt?" Because that actually can put me and my career in jeopardy if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
Just because you feeling this does not give you an excuse to go to a publisher and go and just create this witch hunt so that this author lost her whole deal. Do we know for sure just because this guy ran it through some software that is also AI, everyone?
I know.
I mean, I just, we've got to
What a
stop this.
juxtaposition right there. I hate it, but
Right.
I'm gonna use
He
it.
he used AI to find AI. So how reliable is this? And it's not in the case again of people running old books through AI. And
Mhm.
then AI comes back that it's 100% AI written because in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which was originally, let me,
1800 something?
Frankenstein, 1818, originally
Yeah.
published January 1st, 1818. And it's gothic fiction, science fiction, horror fiction, okay? So think of 1818, how different our lexicon and syntax was back then, correct? So of
Yeah.
course it's going to think this is AI. So if we've got an author who has a little bit different voice, that's automatically AI. And what does that do for us? Did you all readers out there just get some high because you shut down this author's career? Like, what is
Right.
that?
Yeah.
I say go touch some grass because listen up. Like, I'm telling you, the how we were supposed to support indie authors. We're supposed to be like, wow, she got a book deal and it was an interesting book. It was a new thing in horror, and these readers went wild with it. Unless you can
Yeah.
prove it matter of factly, I don't know. I mean, you just have to move on.
I love Joanna Penn's stance on AI.
Mhm.
It's how you orchestrate it and how you utilize it in putting your pieces together for a story. I, in fact, love AutoCrit right now. It is my
Mhm.
favorite tool. There are reports that are run that mimic alpha
Mhm.
readers and beta readers to tell me
Interesting.
gaps and areas
Mhm.
that I'm missing, my repetitiveness. I can
Right.
go in and ask it, you know, questions. I also go and use word hippo. What's the opposite of this word?
Mhm.
To do things myself. I find satisfaction in the curating part of editing for myself. I
Right.
find satisfaction in my dialogue and things of that nature that I write. There are times I research things out and I'm using AI a lot. I'm not a
Right.
firefighter. Um, so, I don't always have the time to go find one and ask them my silly questions when they're busy at work,
Mhm.
things of that nature. I find the witch hunts to be exhaustive. Um, you've got tools such as Photoshop that you can generate images, you can splice images together, you're layering them. Like people go on a witch hunts about that too. I'm just like, you gotta be kidding.
You gotta
Go
stop
touch
it.
some grass. Like get
Yeah.
out of your head. And what exactly are you fighting for? Because the person who did it didn't take a job away. That was their job.
Mhm.
So the robot that you're blaming that is helping the artist to construct something has not taken the artist's job away. It doesn't demean their output necessarily. You may not like it, then don't buy it. If you
Right.
feel it's too robotic, it doesn't have the right voice anymore, or whatever that is. But I also get really irritated when you have authors that have been around for a long time and now you're
Mhm.
starting to point fingers. That stuff wasn't even available. Like
Yeah. No, and
it
everyone
gets
uses M
ridiculous.
dashes.
Yeah.
I think what it is, it's a trend to have a viral moment. I wanna be the one that first told Hachette to pull this book, and I can then watch this unfold and get my viral moment. I think that's more where it stems from, but that's why I say go outside, breathe in some nature,
Yeah.
and really reevaluate your priorities because for one, we're being very clear with like we are not okay with someone just putting in a prompt and
Spitting out a
publishing an
book.
entire book that they did not write at all. We don't want AI books flooding the market any more than anyone else
The
does.
competition is already too high.
Right. So we
It's too
don't want
flooded. Yeah.
that. We
Yeah, I
we're
don't want
not
that.
here for that. But
No.
at the same time, Hachette worked with this author, also put it through rounds of editing. They didn't flag it as AI. So
Everybody's just
why
washing their hands of it. They don't
Mhm.
want the
And so
controversy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So authors,
Yeah.
hold on tight. I mean, just because we just can't still be afraid to put ourselves out there because I think that's what's gonna happen is some people are gonna be afraid to self-publish their book or trad publish because they're gonna be accused of using AI when they're using M dashes.
Or the
So we need
character is
to
monotone.
yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't
eh
recommend that, but,
right.
whatever. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's just something to think about for everyone. We need to just like take a step back and really reflect as to why. Even the
Right.
author, I was almost positive wrote the whole book with AI. I'm just not going to buy any more of her books. And I might, in conversation, say, don't buy anything from this author because I think it was AI. See for yourself. But I'm going to go about my business because the thing
Yeah.
is, you can't 100% prove anything these days. So that's
I
the
just think
lesson of Shy Girl,
yeah,
just
I
for
I
everyone.
think
That's the viral. It went viral this week, and I just
yeah,
was
I
like, we got to
remember.
talk about
I
this.
I think the last comment I'm gonna make about AI is it's not a one all fit solution, and that, I certainly have feelings for AI voices, AI actors, and using likeness of
Yeah,
others.
no one
I
likes
think
that.
those are separate conversations. I think
Mhm.
there's this aspect of protecting your IP, your likeness, your voice. I want to protect my words. That's copyright for me. There's other there's aspects of this discussion that should be, humanly discussed versus just witch hunting and saying all AI is evil.
All
All
right.
right.
One more thing to do. Ready for
I'm
our
ready.
illuminatory conversation card? What is something on your bucket list that you would like to do this year?
The perfect agent?
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, that was on my bucket list. I think I would still
Right.
like that, but, um, I wanna have a really nice vacation, just me and my husband this year. Like,
Mhm.
I wanna get away and actually vacate.
That'd be
That's what I
nice.
wanna do this summer. That's on my bucket list. You?
That would be great. I have a lot of bucket list things. We're doing something that's been on my husband's bucket list for a while, and we're going to Egypt in October. So, if well,
Wow.
if things Eh, don't calm down. We may not be going to Egypt, but that's just he loves history. The pyramids, just it's going to be a river cruise up and down the Nile. So
Oh, how
yeah,
fun.
so
That's
that'll
gonna be a
be a
blast.
big deal. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So that's exciting.
that
Yeah,
is great. Oh my gosh. I love that. Be here before you know it. Okay.
I know.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to give us a review and rating wherever you listen to the podcast. It really helps with visibility, and we appreciate you. And if you're interested in catching the exclusive, The Author Next Door After Dark this month, we're talking emotional wounds, attachment styles, and conflict reactions, third act choices, and vulnerability levels. You don't want to miss this one. Sign up for our newsletter to get access. Till next time, keep writing, keep doing.
We'll see
Bye.
ya.
We're so glad you joined us for this episode of The Author Next Door.
Writing is a long game, and it's one best played with community, curiosity, and a little grace for yourself along the way.
Keep showing up, keep learning, and keep telling stories only you can tell.
We'll see you next week, right here next door.